Blessed to be a part of your day. Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. So, are you looking for a job? Rebecca Ray joining us from Alsop Employment Services in the state of Illinois, talking a little bit about what's going on in Idaho. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Not bad. So when we take a look at Idaho and Social Security Disability Insurance, SSDI benefits, helping folks return to work, where do we stand nationally?
Nationally, we are doing well with helping people access those benefits. There are a lot of challenges and obstacles, but it's important that people understand the value of them, especially the value of being able to go back to work. And that's part of what we're trying to get the word out. We help individuals in Idaho to access those benefits. We represent them through the Social Security disability process. And then there is a point for them to consider going back to work. Often they may have a condition such as cancer or chronic illness. They're able to reach some medical stability and maybe get through treatment and recovery and work again. And so we're trying to raise awareness about that ability.
Well, how can people get involved with that program here?
Well, in Idaho, there currently are an estimated 66,000 beneficiaries who are receiving disability benefits. Of those, it's estimated only about 1,700 folks are trying to work through the Ticket to Work program. And there's a real opportunity with the workforce, the economy being the way that it is. You know, there are a lot of jobs and opportunities, and a lot of individuals could take advantage of that and go back to work if they were aware of this program. So we're trying to share the news and information about the Ticket to Work program for anyone who's currently getting disability benefits.
Sure, and pardon my ignorance here, but these folks want to work. They need to work. How does that work?
Yeah, often motivation is absolutely critical. If you can think of individuals who maybe in your own radio station, maybe you've gone through some chronic health issues, or maybe had to quit work, or had something come up where they needed to leave, like a cancer diagnosis. Maybe they did have to leave work for 2 or 3 years. A lot of people, especially in America, our identity is our work. It's really critical to who we are, kind of represents us out in the community and our families. And so it's incredible the number of people who do really want to go back to work. Of our customers, we find that more than 50% tell us, I want to work again. I really don't want to go to the government and get this benefit. And so we're trying to explain to them, you know what, you go get this benefit, and guess what? There's going to be free help for you to go back to work. So really keep that in mind. You may stop working for 2 or 3 years, but then you can get back into the workforce again with some free support through this program.
Well, how critical is it that these folks have these opportunities? And, most of us, Rebecca, we live in our own little world. We kind of do our own thing. And yet, right. So, how should I put this? So unconnected to people that are suffering. How
exactly? Yeah, it's true. And I don't know if it's hard to think of it, but we have like 162 million workers in the United States. 155 million workers are insured for this benefit, can use this benefit, and a lot of workers just don't think about it. Hopefully nobody has to experience this where they have to quit working. But the benefit, the monthly income is about $1,200 if you get to this point where you have to quit working and use this benefit. The ability to go back to work and raise that income level is just so critical. If you keep in mind the average age of a disability is in the 50s, 52, 53, 54, and you think, someone could live to, 70 or 80, if they can get this benefit and recover and go back to work maybe 10 or 15 more years of some good income coming in, they can just provide themselves a lot better future for their, later years. So that's part of the critical message is, don't just give up on your future when you have a serious debilitating health issue. More than 50% of people experiencing this, it can be a heart attack, it can be a car wreck, it can be an accident on the job. Something unexpected can come up, and it is one of the things that we don't think about it. We generally just don't think about it. We go about our day, we go to work, we come home, we see our family, we kind of run through our lives, and it's when you get this diagnosis or something comes up, then it hits you, then it's important, and we're just trying to get the word out so the individuals can be aware this is a benefit that's there for them and for their family members as well, and something to take advantage of because they're paying for it through their payroll taxes.
So how can they get more information?
Well, they can reach an organization like us online. We have a website, allsipemploymentservices.com. Social Security, of course, has information online as well. We also have truehelp.com, which is our easy website for just learning more about all of the services, including Social Security, disability, and going back to work.
Sure. What was that website again?
Sure. It's allsipemploymentservices.com. Or truehelp.com. And we also have a phone number. It's 866-540-5105.
Probably truehealth.com would be the easiest for folks to remember.
It is easy, isn't it? Truehelp.com. Yeah. It's pretty easy. It does have information about Social Security, disability, and then the ability to go back to work with that help.
What about employers? What's your message to employers hiring somebody with a disability?
We are doing more with employers, trying to help them understand the opportunities here. More employers are looking for workers in this. It's a tighter and tighter workforce, and you have a lot of really good skilled people that do have to leave. Maybe their employer couldn't accommodate them or work with them, but other employers are willing to do that because they know there's a lot of good talent out there. So we do work with organizations, including disability groups such as the United Spinal Association, to try to connect people who have conditions with employers as well. So we do some communication with employers and working to continue to grow those connections and relationships. For employers, making the connection to someone like one of our customers, services, again, are all free. There's no cost to them. It's essentially making the connection to a worker who wants to work, and they may need an accommodation such as, specific types of hours or some type of assistance, maybe computer-aided software or something like that that's going to help them in the workplace. So we do some education and information around that as well, and I think we're going to see more growth of awareness of this program because the involvement in it is growing. And there's a lot of interest in Congress and Washington as well that anybody who wants to work gets to work, gets to have that happen for them.
And one more time, that website?
Sure. It's truehelp.com is the quick way to get there. Then specifically the work services are through ALSUP Employment Services. So that's ALLSUP, employmentservices.com.
All right, Rebecca, we appreciate that. And hopefully we've allowed people to get a job today. Thank you.
Yes, I hope so. Thanks so much for your time, Kevin.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye. There we have it, Rebecca Ray from ALSUPTrueHealth.com. Phone numbers here, 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Two big topics we're talking about, the vilification of the Covington, Kentucky kids, the government shutdown, and I'm trying to think of, Oscar Cortez. By the way, a young man has been emailing me. I believe he's a lib. His name's Mark. He continues to email me with this rolling review of the program, reminding me it's not Oscar Cortez. The University of Akron educated you well, didn't it? I think it educated me good. But, yes, Mark in Boise, thank you. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So last hour, we'll just refresh you right here quickly. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez said that the world is going to end in 12 years.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up, and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
There we have it. So review and commentary on that. By the way, Joe Biden looks like he's going to run for president. I wonder if he's going to bring back this golden oldie from 1989.
We disagree with the president's decision to cut back on our previous commitment to protect against drugs coming across the border, to cut the Customs Service, the Coast Guard, and the Border Patrol. We think we should do more to stem the flow of drugs across our borders, and we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
And can you imagine that if Joe Biden said that today? He sounds like a conservative Republican. That's 1989 Joe Biden that we decided to bring back out of the KIDO Talk Radio archives. Go after the narco-terrorist. By the way, those topics and more at 580-5436, 580-KIDO, along with the government shutdown. But what really is fascinating is what's going on with these young kids in Kentucky. We first disclosed this yesterday. If you were working, you were listening, and you know what we're talking about, where we exposed that what we saw in the video wasn't actually the truth. Imagine that. Imagine the ne'er-do-wells in the media that want to destroy America, that want to redefine the family, that want to redefine America from a capitalist, incentive-driven society to what's in it for me, and I want my, there's no incentive, and we're all going to be socialist, sing Kumbaya, and wear Mao suits. That's where we are today, thanks to our friends in the media. So over the weekend, it was exposed that the 63-year-old Native American Vietnam veteran actually was the one that was provoking the kids. And if you missed it yesterday, let me apologize in advance. We have the audio from the Vietnam veteran, Native American, banging on his drum.
I'm so
And as I said, the 6 o'clock hour, I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. Sing it with me, everybody. So you have the kids that are being attacked, provoked, and threatened. That's not hyperbole. You'll hear it in a minute. Attacked, provoked, and threatened, reacting with a sense of humor, and everybody condemning them. So much so, their school had to be closed because of threats against them, even though they were innocent. Here's where the threats happened from the black Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying.
Let's make America great again. A bunch of child molested
Catholic school kids wearing hats supporting the president. These are adults. These are people that are race baiting, and yet the news didn't go after them. They didn't go after the 63-year-old Native American Vietnam veteran who was seeking to taunt the little boys. Apparently, the little boys showed more restraint, more security, more maturity than the adults.
You got all these dirty-ass crackers behind you.
And by the way, let me apologize for the language here. By the way, can't this guy be arrested for inciting a riot, as we asked the question yesterday?
With a red, make America great hat again on, and your coon ass, you want to fight your brother.
Right. The kids were sitting there doing what kids do. They were laughing at these fools because, let's face it, they're fools.
See how you got these pompous bastards come down here in the middle of a native rally with their dirty ass hat on?
Yeah, and again, I truly apologize for the language here, but this is what we're up against. So here we have the host, Joshua Johnson, on Meet the Press, a fair-minded guy from NPR. By the way, we pay his salary, condemning the kids. Let's take a listen.
The reason is because this is no longer purely pragmatic or practical politics. This is a moral issue. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think the shutdown is kind of a symptom of something larger. The wall is a campaign promise the president made to play on something very deeply held that his political base feels. And if you want to look for an image that actually speaks to this, it's probably those protesters who were on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, the Native American man who was beating the drum, Nathan Phillips, and those kids in the Make America Great Again hats that were kind of smirking at him and kind of looking down their noses at him. To me, that is the real image.
He went up to them and tried to get in their face. How many kids do you know would show that restraint? Started laughing at the guy. Who wouldn't? Then it was later exposed, even before Meet the Press went to airing, that these guys, they do this all the time. They're looking to make a moment, and it didn't work.
Of this is about xenophobia. For many Americans, this is about race. This is about rhetoric that has reached a point where it has ground the government to a halt. Nancy Pelosi said a wall is an immorality. So how do you make a political solution to a moral quandary? It seems like the entire political establishment has kind of painted itself into a place where the practical nature of politics could solve this.
Does anybody know what he's saying? Maybe that's why people tune out of politics. They don't just speak like normal people. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I go back to this. NBC refusing to retract this story, refusing to sit back and say, we were wrong. Just like with the UVA rape scandal story, just like the situation involving the Duke lacrosse kids. I just sit there and I think to myself, this is why the media does not represent America anymore.
Long way from the days of dogs, police dogs, and fire hoses and lynchings and those types of things. But those activities take different forms today, and they manifest themselves very differently. The KKK, the Nazis, they aren't running around in hoods and burning crosses. They're getting tiki torches and wearing azads and pullovers, right?
Walking in public.
And walking in public. So it's a very different environment. The scab on civil rights, the scab on racism, all of that has been plucked, pricked, pulled off again.
Well, this is a really tricky story to unpack, especially in such a short amount of time. Part of it is just how we view news through our political prisms. You can't separate the larger context from the video. As much as we want to say that's in one singular incident, the fact of the matter is that hate crimes are definitely on the rise. Instances of anti-Semitism are definitely on.
What about the black Hebrew Israelites? Couldn't that be construed as a hate crime? Liberal Steve joins us now on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Liberal Steve.
Yeah, you always say you want a different opinion. We like different opinions on your show, and as soon as somebody calls in with an opinion different than yours, it's rough, 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 rough. Those kids were being smart-ass little crackers, period, long before the 33-minute video. And that kid standing there defiant in the face, they've been down there every year doing their drumming, veteran, Native American, doing their thing, and these smart-ass kids, and that kid standing there with the smirk on his face and da-da-da, teenagers that don't understand life. Yeah, and the people that call them smart-ass white crackers were right on, period. And then Max calling saying, doesn't she mean World War III? When doesn't he understand language? And she said it's our World War II. And yeah, she's got a very valid point. It's a little bit out of proportion, but she's right on.
You agree that the world is going to end in 12 years?
Well, it depends. Define
the
end.
World is going to end in 12 years. Pretty simple statement.
It could end in 12 years. You don't know it couldn't. I mean, if you allow coal and fossil fuel and everything else to continue, and emissions out of cars and everything, yeah, it could.
So let me get this straight. You're agreeing with the black Hebrew Israelites and the 63-year-old Native American Vietnam veteran that he just wants to bang on the drum all day, that they were the ones going over the kids, the good kids.
Yes, because they were doing it long before the 33-minute video. They were chanting and making fun. They were
the kids were over on another part of the Lincoln Memorial. He went after them.
Yeah, he should have went after them. I'm surprised he didn't smack them a good one. They needed it. They needed to go over somebody's knee. They're just a bunch of white, privileged kids from a Catholic school that learn nothing from that Catholic school except hate.
You can't take yourself seriously. You're making me laugh.
Well, yeah, you're already laughing. You were chanting and
I'm laughing.
I'm laughing.
I'm laughing with you, not at you, but I am laughing.
No. You wanna promote the vision, and you want 1 minute. 1 minute you're with the kids, another minute you're against the kids. It all depends on whether it's in your favor and makes your Fox News and all the hatred in the world look good. Okay, Ann Coulter of AM Radio.
Thank you, Liberal Steve. Your call's next. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio.
KIDO Talk Radio.
Kevin Miller here, reminding you the 4th Idaho Men's Catholic Conference is... Thank you, Ray Amaya. Kevin Miller in the morning, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Joseph in Boise. Good morning. You're on KIDO Talk Radio.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. Long-time listener, not a frequent caller. Oh, Liberal Steve made me call this morning. I was listening all morning to your show. Great show, as always. But liberal Steve just cracks me up. I don't know if he can actually believe half the stuff he's saying. But
right,
the show, everything, the whole weekend, from BuzzFeed to the Covington High School kids, I looked at it, and my first reaction was like, oh, geez, the BuzzFeed story oh, man, it can't be true. I hope not, yada, yada, yada. Then I found out that was debunked, fake news. And then the Covington story, I first saw it on Facebook. Then I saw it on the different news lines. And I was like, geez, that doesn't look good either. I don't believe those kids. In my head, I'm saying it's printed. It's in the news. It's got to be real. I'm still kind of believable like that, gullible. But I'm saying, no, it can't be. These kids were chaperoned. And then when the whole video came out and all the audio to go with it, like you were saying, that they were provoked. And they stood their ground. They didn't argue back. They were trying to, just get back to their bus and go back to school after the Right to Life March. The Right to Life March drew a fantastic crowd. And I guess those kids go there every year. And this year they had the red hats on. So it made them, oh, geez, and all these other groups, the Black, Hebrew, Jewish people, it's just interesting that the media picks up on the bad, and then liberal Steve believes the bad. He laughs at us like, oh, we only want the news to go our way, and we'll sugarcoat everything we hear to fit our narrative. But liberal Steve believes everything he reads, the first point of view, like he doesn't believe the whole 30-minute video of the kids at the school. He probably believes the BuzzFeed story, too, and Trump should be out of there. Like most liberals and the left believe that President Trump isn't here. We know he shouldn't have been there since 2016. So it's just like, it's just totally interesting that people catch on to the people who are sheeple. I'm not a sheep. I'm not even the big sheep dog. I listen to and use my head. The media, the left media, nobody see the buzzwords. When President Bush #2 was around, they used gravitas. And then every single station uses gravitas as an example. Today it's like impeach, and every station uses impeach. And every talking head on the station uses the same words. So who coordinates that? Don't they realize the left is coordinated just against anything that President Trump wants to do? It doesn't matter that Pelosi and switch subjects. It doesn't matter that Pelosi and Schumer wanted barriers and fences when they were there, when President Obama was there. And I'm still ticked off at the rhinos who didn't let when they had both houses of Congress put it up for President Trump to sign. And I'm glad Wonder Boy is gone as the Speaker of the House. I forgot his name already.
Paul Ryan. Joseph, I got to run. I always appreciate you supporting our causes and stopping by Miller's Mission. I got to run, but thank you, brother.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
All right, traffic and weather together, 107.5 FM.
Channel 7's Eric Everett.
And Mark, Doug, and Tea Party Bob, you're next with me, Kevin Miller, 107.5 FM, 580 AM, KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning, Kevin.
Kevin Miller in the morning, KIDO Talk Radio. Don't forget, after Glenn Beck is Dave Ramsey, weekdays noon to 3. Appreciate Dave Ramsey, always having Dave Ramsey on our program. And, of course, for more details on our lineup, you can go to KIDOTalkRadio.com. KIDO Talk Radio, 107.5 FM, 580 AM. Your home for Fox News here in the Treasure Valley. Live to the White House. John Decker joins us now from Fox News Radio. John, good morning.
Good morning to you, Kevin. How are you doing today?
Not bad, and the government shutdown continues, and it looks like we might have some movement in the Senate, sir.
Well, movement in the sense that the Senate will take up the legislation that the president announced on Tuesday, legislation which would reopen the government, would provide $5.7 billion for a border wall with Mexico, and would provide a temporary fix for those hundreds of thousands of DACA recipients, those so-called dreamers. Problem being, though, Kevin, is that legislation requires the support of 7 Senate Democrats, and I just don't see the numbers there. I don't see the president convincing 7 Senate Democrats to vote for this legislation. And if that doesn't happen, if 7 Democrats don't vote for that legislation, we're back in the same place. We're in day 32 of the government shutdown, and I see no end in sight because the two sides are so far apart.
Okay, John Decker, for the reference to others, let me go Richard Ben Kramer on you, the author of What It Takes, still, I think, one of the greatest books ever written about politics. What's the calculation politically that you're hearing from the Democrats on appearing not to move with the president's first offer? What's the political calculation behind the scenes?
Well, the calculation is that they believe it's in their best interest to oppose the president on just about everything. And so this is something that I don't think you're going to see Chuck Schumer or Nancy Pelosi pull away from their hard-set position of no funding for a border wall. The president on the opposite side believes that he can't give in on no funding for that border wall because it was a campaign promise, and it's one of those things in which his supporters expect him to fight for. So that's where we are. If it doesn't pass the Senate, and I don't think it will, then the president has to look at Plan B. And I don't know specifically what Plan B is, but from an outsider's perspective, with some knowledge about how these things work out, Plan B, it seems to me, Kevin, would be the president once again meeting with congressional leaders here at the White House to try to find some sort of end to this impasse.
Of course, wouldn't Plan B be the declare it an emergency and then open up the government?
I think that's Plan C.
Okay.
I do think that is the ultimate thing the president can ultimately do. He's been encouraged to do that by, among other people, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Lindsey Graham. I think it would get challenged immediately in the federal courts, and it would prevent the president from actually attaching those federal funds to build a border wall, but it would certainly bring an end to the impasse, that's for sure. And so I think that if you look at sort of what the end game is for the president, that to me is Plan C if Plan B doesn't work out.
And yet, usually in the old days, there used to be the Gang of Eight or the Gang of This, a select group of individuals, bipartisan from both parties, that would figure it out. Do you see any type of group forming in this?
Perhaps, but so far there has been none. I do know that Republican and Democrat members have met with one another. There's the so-called Problem Solvers Caucus. So they talk to one another. In fact, members of this caucus met with the president last week. But still, despite those meetings and despite the meeting that they have with the president, nothing positive in terms of ending the government shutdown now in day 32. So I think what comes next is the president has to see it for himself, and that is that there is no support for his proposal for passage in the U.S. Senate.
John, anything else we should be looking out for? I know you're always covering the stories for us.
Well, this is a thing that I'm paying a lot of attention to right now, but also keep in mind while you've been on the air, there's been a Supreme Court ruling that affects one of the president's decisions. It's his moratorium on transgender people serving in the military that, according to the Supreme Court, will be allowed to go into effect while the legal battle continues in the lower courts. And so the president initially announced this policy on Twitter back in July of his first year in office, and it reversed an Obama policy of allowing transgender men and women to openly serve in the armed forces. So a bit of a win for the president today, but it's temporary because the ultimate constitutionality on the moratorium still needs to get decided by the federal courts, including probably ultimately by the U.S. Supreme Court.
John Decker on the scene from the White House. Thank you, sir.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Have a great day. I look forward to talking to you next time.
Thank you, John. Take care. Bye-bye. We have it, John Decker. Remember, exclusively live reports from the White House every day, only on 107.5 FM, 580 AM, your home for Fox News on the radio. KIDO Talk Radio. Mark and Eagle, thanks for your patience. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. Hey, real quick, I want to make a comment on what I heard you play there at the top of the hour. You know, this is another great example of the mentally diseased minds in these far-left groups and the radical left media. Those excerpts, as you played, those low-grade profanity-laced moron says it all. You know, the media these days and the far left that back these groups and let them spew their hate is straight out of the Hitler's Nazi Germany's playbook with the anti-Semitism that came with Goebbels and his propaganda machine. I mean, this is straight out of his playbook. I wanted to thank you there at KIDO 580 AM and 107.5 FM for mentioning about what's going on here in Eagle earlier. I missed it. I've been a little under the weather, so I missed you earlier. But this is a serious thing, folks. You know, when you have an international corporation come in and start buying up water municipalities, can divert water to other places. I'm one of those people that have Eagle Water Company. I'm one of those 4,200 homes out there, or approximately 12,000 or more residents that are affected by this, but it just doesn't affect people here in Eagle. It affects people around the valley. There are letters to the PUC right now that show from people who have had their wells go dry from Suez, running their well lines deeper and sucking that water out of the aquifer and diverting it to other locations. You know, this is a dangerous precedent that's going on here. You have people who have lived, some of these people have had rights to their water and grandfather rights going back maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 or more years. And this should not be happening. I want to make sure people know that if you're interested, this does affect even people who have small wells on their own property in the Eagle area. There is a city council meeting, and it begins about 5:30. They will be taking opinions and comments from people out there, citizenry. So we hope to have as many people as possible show up there at Eagle City Hall at 5:30 on and voice their opinion or opposition. And again, I want to thank you, Kevin Miller, at KIDO 580 AM and 107.5 FM for your help. I mentioned this earlier. Have a good day, sir.
Mark, we appreciate it, but do us a favor.
Yes, sir.
Please keep us updated on this.
I
if we're
sure
not talking
will.
About
there
it,
is a group that I'm involved with. Their website is www.facebook.com/groups/Eagle Water Customers. Their Facebook page will tell you a lot more information than what I just provided here. Again, they want to increase 200 to 300% the rates on us, plus add chlorine to the water. We've lived here for going on 24 years. I'm a small business owner and raised my family here, basically, and we've never had any issue with the quality of the water here whatsoever. So thanks again, sir, for your help at your end, and I'll keep you in touch and keep you posted with what's going on.
Thank you, Mark. Take care.
You too, sir.
Bye-bye. Wow. Another international foreign company buying a local municipality. Doug in Mountain Home, thank you for joining us. It's been a while on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Kevin. Well, just like what this guy was just saying, I heard about this, I don't know, last year or so, where they were talking about it. And, Kevin, it's just like everybody wants this socialism stuff. The left does. What do you think that's all about right there? I mean, where they can take your water rights? I mean, water rights are some of the oldest rights that we have got in this United States, and they can just take it and move it around where they want, huh? Sell it. But to Steve, liberal Steve, come on, Steve, you got to have more smarts than that, talking about the climate control. I mean, how long have we heard that, Kevin? You know, Al Gore and all them guys in the what carbon footprint? Come on. I mean, them guys are doing nothing but getting rich. Are you still there, Kevin?
I am, Doug. Just listening away. Go ahead, please.
You know, and Steve, if you think this is you're gonna solve this like this gal with the whoever that was, you had anyway.
Right, Cortez, yes.
Yeah, for crying out loud, you guys think you can buy off the weather? And with money, you can make it do what you want it to do? And Steve, if you don't think this is right, you know, the way things are going with the fossil fuels, get out of your car and walk or ride a bike. You know, shut off your natural gas in your home and freeze. You know, shut your electricity off that is made with the power from the dams. That's pretty easy to do. But you guys don't. You gripe about it, but yet you're still playing in the game. You're still using it. I don't see you guys coming up with any ideas. I damn sure don't want no freaking electric car that goes 40 miles an hour or whatever they do. I mean, come on, people, wake up. This left thing and this liberal thing and everything that's going on, it don't work. All you got to do is look into history, but you guys don't even want to do that. But look into history and see what has lasted. It's called capitalism and the Constitution of the United States. It has lasted because it works. And these puppets of Soros's, of the guy from South Africa that was in office for a while, and Charles Schumer and Nancy Pelosi. And, I mean, all they are is puppets, and they dance like crazy to them guys, the money men. I mean, it's just ridiculous. This guy we have in here has been the best breath of fresh air this country has had, Kevin, and nobody will go with him. He's been doing it all by himself, except for a few people around him. And you Republicans are you're not even Republicans, you're Democrats. You're just as much socialism, Paul Ryan, as they are. Just like the man back behind said, you had control of the House, control of the Senate, and what did you do? Nothing. Not a damn thing. Kevin, what they need to do, I don't know how to explain this, but if there was some way that he could get something through or Trump on the wall, the funds that nobody wants to support, the people that don't want to support, fine them. Somehow, I mean, it'd be just like what Obamacare is. If you don't have insurance, you get fined for it. And they passed it. Hell, they didn't have no problems with that, did they? Well, fine them. Figure some way out to find out who it is that doesn't want to and fine them. Why should they have a problem with it? They did it. All right. Anyway, I've said enough. I didn't have a very good Christmas either, Kevin. I cut one of my fingers off. So I've been having a heck of a time. Anyway, at work in a dump truck tailgate. Anyway, you guys be good. I'm glad you're on air because it's the only place you can get the the truth, period.
All right.
Steve, liberal Steve, think about it.
Right. I hope your finger, sorry about losing your finger, Doug. God bless.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. We go to Texas now. Bob's calling in on KIDO Talk Radio with Kevin Miller. Good morning, Bob.
Hey, I'm glad you're doing good, sir. Doug, I am right with you, bro. I know exactly what you're saying, my brother. Hey, look, Kevin, let me ask you. How long can I need 2.5 minutes. Can you do that in between now and a break, or do you have to break?
Why don't we take a break? Can you hang on?
Can I come back on?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, we're going to have a quick break. Hang on. All right, we've got Bob from Texas and Tea Party Bob and you. All that before Glenn Beck. Kevin Miller, KIDO Talk Radio. And quickly, before we get to Glenn Beck, Bob in Texas. You're calling from Texas?
Yes, sir. Yeah, listen to you every day, man. Hey, listen.
Thank you. Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You've got 2.5, brother. They're yours. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'll try to beat that time. Got to get Tea Party Bob on here. Hey, listen. The reason I called is because of Linda. I believe that was her name yesterday, right before you went off the air. She said, quote, "I'm an old woman," and that perked my ears up. I said, I need to hear what she's going to say. And Linda, hey, look, you don't sound like you're 80 years old, young lady. I'll tell you what, you sound great. You're working your phrasing a little bit, tighten up your pauses, and call in every day. I love to hear you. Hey, listen, now, this is the point. Your Sunday morning show, the best of Kevin Miller, is great. You make it sound like it's live, man. You do a great job. There's a show on after you. It's called The Flat Line. and it's about the Bible. It does not ask for money, doesn't sell anything, but he talks about how to turn this country around. Please, like you, Doug, you need to listen to him. His name is Rick Hughes. He's on at 7:30 right after the Kevin Miller Show. What we need to do is turn back to God and working the mandates. People go to church all the time, and it's hi, God, see you Sunday, God, that type of thing. And they're still Christians, and they're not going to go to heaven, but you have to take it the next route. Daily Bible study. Learn what it is to be, what was in the mind of Christ. The more people in this country that actually repent, and repent has nothing to do with sin at all. Repent is a change of thinking. If you spend enough time every day studying God's Word, your life will completely change. And he will see that. The more people that he sees that are true, working a mandate, Christians, and learning God's Word and knowing what it means, he will turn this country around. That is the way the Christian can fix this country. Going to church on Sunday is not going to do it. You need to learn the Bible. Please, I'm asking you to. Check it out. You're great, Kevin, okay? We have to talk about politics, yeah. But there's something else we can also do, and that's learn the Bible.
Okay.
The man's name is Rick Hughes. He's on right after. He's from Alabama. Cut him some slack on that. He used to play for Bear Bryant. Don't judge it by that. I'm an LSU guy myself. But anyway, it's 7:30, Rick Hughes. You will love this guy. It's Rick Hughes, the flat line right after the best of Kevin Miller.
Bob,
and that's all I had to say.
All right, Bob, call in again. Appreciate you listening from Texas. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And traffic and weather together. The Tea Party Bob. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Miller. Another great show as usual. You should do some research on this Suez company as we have before allowing them to take over their water supply. I think they'd be very surprised. I'm glad the Freedom Foundation is taking up the mantle of fighting against the freewheeling spending of our tax money by politicians like Mayor Beater on these urban renewal districts. We've been speaking about this for years, and as usual, the public remains oblivious to the raping of the taxpayers by the politicians, keeping the developers rolling in cash and the developers keeping the politicians rolling in campaign donations. You realize, Kevin, until citizens of Treasure Valley wake up, these municipal governments will keep burning away our tax dollars on more useless projects that continue to put us deeper into debt and never make the developers pay or put the money aside necessary for the infrastructure to support these developments. This is one of the reasons I'm looking forward to moving out of this quagmire of political influence, and I hope the Freedom Foundation wins their suit, but I don't think it's in the cards. Basically, this is going to be stacked against with the huge political influence of Beater and the cabal and his cabal of free spenders, along with the money that the developers have hungry for the next lucrative project. A quick word about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the rest of her leftist buddies. This country has done quite well for 242 years without their help. And the New Age socialist policies that they are trying to bring into our country, when we have 30-somethings who have virtually no experience with life telling us the end of the world is in 12 years unless we spend trillions to reverse climate change, this has to be the climax of a parade of idiots who are trying to take over this country.